Senator Munson.
Well, thank you, Chair, and thank you for being here. Sometimes I feel it's Groundhog Day all over again because we come into the month of May. We have a break week in May, and we're supposed to have this done by June 7th. Then it's supposed to go to the House of Commons, and I would expect they'll reject many of the amendments. This is not tinkering. When I take a look at it, from our committee at Social Affairs, we are going to have amendments. We've already seen where Aboriginal Committee has recommended a delay. You have 5 amendments here, and we haven't heard from Foreign Affairs and Defense. We seem to always come to this crossroad in a political road. So Senator Joyal, is it really feasible that we're going to be able to amend this thing, have the amendments accepted and get this done by July 1st? Or are we looking down a longer road because of the many, many concerns that we've heard at all committees?
Well, let me say first that Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee has been studying the issue of cannabis since January, because we started with C46, and we have had many hearings. I have not counted them, but at least 10 or 12 hearings on C46 that dealt essentially with the impact of smoking cannabis and driving. But there are all kinds of other issues related to that, cannabis consumption at work and whatnot. So we have been the committee, in fact, of the Senate that has had, I should say, the longest exposure to cannabis. We will be completing our study of C46. We hope in time for the Senate to have a package of consideration of all the landscape of it. There is no doubt that we were under constraint, our own committee. We had to report it, for the 1st of May. As a matter of fact, and I thank my 2 colleagues here, I tabled the bill at 11:30 last night. I spent the whole evening correcting, with the support of my 2 colleagues, the last draft and whatnot to make sure that the product is presentable to you. There is no doubt that we had a time constraint that doesn't allow us today to give you the legal text that would enshrine the 8 recommendations that you have as being unanimous recommendation. We don't have that text yet to be able to distribute it to you because we didn't physically the time to do that. So, and the same with the other recommendations that have a majority support and so forth. And I bet that the other committees that study this bill are in exactly the same position than us. But I think that the important thing is to make sure that we signal to the government the preoccupation that we have heard at the committee and that you will hear all along your hearings. And those preoccupations are not different than what the average Canadian have as a preoccupation, be it police forces or municipalities or educator or family or peoples who are responsible for mental health and whatnot. What you find in our report is essentially a cross-section of preoccupation all over the country in all the various aspects of the reality of cannabis in Canada, because it's the first time really that we have that exercise, being conducted. So to tell you, will we be able as a whole, as an institution, to address that? I have no better comment to suggest to you, to implement the Chinese philosophy, one day at a time. Let's try to understand what we're doing as legislators, the implications that is carried by all this, make proposals to the Chamber, appeals to the attention of the Senate, appeals to the attention of the House of Commons, and I'm sure that the government is listening as much as we do, that the police forces, the provincial government, the overall system requests more time. So the government cannot force that, in my opinion, in all its wisdom. The government listens, I hope. The government is sensitive to public opinion, the preoccupation that are sound and, in my opinion, rational, because they are born and expressed by people who are responsible in their milieu. And as I say, we are bound by the date of 7th of June. You are also bound as a committee to report, I think, on the 26th of May. So we are certainly trying to do the most we can do within a time frame that is a straitjacket that is very tight on our body. Believe me, I feel it as any one of you would feel it. So that's the most I can offer to you.